This is a real treat, seeing a dragon fruit flower in the morning. How gorgeous is this? And look at the bees doing the business, pollinating the fruit. This is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, a wonder of nature. What a magnificent flower, as big, well, half the size of my head, and I've got a pretty big head. And look how that bee is going in that flower, right down the guts of it, and that's then going to go all the way down and pollinate. It's got to go all the way down this stem, triggering the fruit or pollinating the fruit, fertilizing the fruit, I think you call it. I'm no botanist, I'm shocking at this stuff. But then once that gets that fertilization, then it can grow. If it doesn't get the fertilization, it will only probably get to about this big. That's an unfertilized dragon fruit. It's tiny, it's small, and that'll probably just die off and fall off. It won't taste very good at all. But if it does get pollinated, it'll fatten up and it'll become large like this. A nice big fat dragon fruit, which are great to eat, and I've showed that many times. Pollination of dragon fruit is fickle because often the flowers are dead by now. Like this is 8 in the morning. Probably because it's overcast and the conditions is perfect. Well, then that's probably why it's open like this. But often the flowers only open at night time, and where these dragon fruit plants come from, they're native to South America or Mexico, I think. Don't quote me on that just yet. I'll flash that up on the screen. And here comes that bee again. And so where they're native, I believe there's a large moth or other types of creatures that pollinate, or a bat that pollinates these flowers through the night. Whereas in where I am, it probably has to rely on things like ants and bees early morning, or other insects crawling through it through the night time. Perhaps bats might come here, but I don't think you'd have as many native species attracted to these flowers through the night. But in the daytime, if they're open in the daytime, as you saw, a bee will be attracted to the flower, which is really great. That's a bit of old that needs to be trimmed back here, this bit of dragon fruit. But this is really magnificent, isn't it? Isn't it just terrific? Look at it. You can see, like, I've got fairly big hands, and you can see the size of that flower. And then and it's starting to close. And if you take into account the size of these petals, and well, that's not petals, that's the petals there, but the outside of this flower, you can see how huge it is. Just terrific. It's real amazing. Look how long that stem is. And there's the fruit forming on the vine there. This is a yellow variety. It's my favourite variety of dragon fruit to grow, even though it's got the thorns. The fruit is slightly sweeter than the real big purple ones you see. The yellow one has more fruitier, I suppose, more effervescent type taste, but it's a slightly sweeter taste. And because some people can say dragon fruit can be a little bland, but so can watermelon. I'd akin dragon fruit tastes similar to watermelon, but with a cross of kiwi fruit, because we've got the small seeds that are quite edible and you don't notice them. But that's the way I describe it. But you can see why it has trouble pollinating the fruit or fertilizing the fruit when you've got the flowers rarely open through the daytime, and B, you've got such a long way for that pollen to go. Now this flower will it'll be dead by another few hours. They only open once. This is very rare to see. You have to be at the right place at the right time. I was just coming back from down the back there. I was let the chickens out for the morning, and I saw it. You saw it from a distance. Here's that bee back. I saw this. You can see it from a distance. They are so huge. They just light the backyard up. And I mean, even if you don't get fruit out of these things, just experiencing these in the flesh with your own eyeballs is just an amazing sight. I remember once my wife got up, she drew the curtains back, and she looked into the backyard. It was about 6 in the morning, the sun was out, and she said, "Mark!" Oh, and I just about shat myself. I said, "What?" She said, "Come here, look at this." And 60 meters away, we looked down, and there was 3 or 4 dragon fruit flowers opened at the same time. It lit the whole backyard up, and it was a beautiful sight. Absolutely beautiful, especially with the sun behind them, and oh, they were wonderful looking flowers. So yeah, even if you have trouble with the pollination, which is always a difficult thing with dragon fruit, people try to hand pollinate them and all sorts of things to try, but I think a lot of the time, no matter what you do, you hand pollinate them, you've got the bees and everything, you can still run into trouble that the fruit doesn't get fertilized and it won't form. But even if you just grow them for the flowers and just experiencing this lovely cactus itself, which does like a good lot of rain, to be honest, it likes its water. But even if you're just growing it for the ornamental value, I need to trim off some of these older branches. That's my fault, and they look a lot better. And they branch out more too. I can show you, I don't like to go away from that flower, but I can show you over here. I've been giving this one quite a bit of water, and you can see how it's starting to branch out now. If you find that they've stopped growing or they're suffering, more often than not, they need more water. They love lots of water. For a cactus, yes, it will survive without water. It's very drought tolerant, but they will grow much better if you give them a whole lot of water. And that was what was happening with this one. It was drying out in this pot, which I'm going to change. I'm going to get rid of that pot and make a larger raised bed. And it was drying out in that pot, so I ended up putting the sprinkler on it and watering it almost daily, and then it just shot out and started growing all these new big stems, which I have to start tying up and tying back and making sure that they don't all just fall off. But while I've got you here, I was going to show you this separately, but if you're going to try to make a new plant, see how this stem has fallen over? It's fallen over, and this one here has come straight up. Well, what's happened is the stem's fallen over, and where the join, or like the elbow joint, see that? Where that is, or the end of the dragon fruit vine, or the elbow joint, has hit the soil, it's rooted down. So if I can't pull that up, that's rooted down, and now a new plant is forming, and that would grow up if I left it there. I could put a post here, I could put a post there, and then a new dragon fruit plant would form from that, and I could get rid of that stem. That is called layering, really. That's like a form of layering where you pull down a branch or a stem from a tree, and then it takes root, and then you can cut away from the host plant or the mother plant, and it'll grow up and make a new plant. or you could lay it into another pot and then you could move it. So I thought that was interesting that it did it itself. But likewise, you can just cut any of these off, put it in a pot and make a new plant out of it. It grows very easy from cuttings, dragon fruit. It grows very slowly but easily from seeds as well. But the best way to grow dragon fruit is through cuttings, in my opinion. And yeah, so that had fallen over. I've been mowing around it just to see how it went, and that experiment was quite interesting, and it has taken root. Now I can pull that up and replant it, which I will do. I'm gonna pull that off, and I'm gonna put it in a pot and replant it and make another plant out of that. I'm not going to leave it there though. But yeah, that's getting away from the initial flower that I was talking about. But I could see it from down the back there. I was a good 40 meters away, and it caught my eye, that whiteness. Look at it. It's like a big trumpet. Well, there you go. That's the wonderful. I just don't want to leave it, but I've got lots of work to do today, so I'm going to have to leave it. But that's the most fantastic dragon fruit flower. I've said it many times before how wonderful they are, but I haven't had the chance to show you guys footage through the day. I've showed you it opening at night, and we've been through that video and how wonderful it is. But I've never had the opportunity to really show you properly. I've showed you a couple of buds that have closed through by the time I've got to them, but I haven't had a chance to show you almost fully open what this flower is like, and I'm so glad that I was able to bring this to you. So there you go. Thanks a lot for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, share it, because that helps a lot with the channel and inspires me to keep making more videos. Bye for now.